Now, I don't know if you guys have been made aware about this, but there's some unfortunate news about Deadpool 3. It has now been completely pulled from Disney's release schedule, meaning that it has been delayed indefinitely, not just because of everything happening with the SAG situation and WGA strike, but also because of what Bob Iger is up to, specifically behind closed doors, and exactly what's going on with the third installment of Deadpool featuring both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into exactly what the situation really is all about surrounding Deadpool 3 that goes beyond what has happened with Disney pulling it from the release schedule. Now, I don't know about you guys, but this is by far, I would say, the most anticipated Disney/Marvel movie yet, because it's basically going to be a movie full of cameos, full of fan service, and just a fun ride. Unfortunately, we have quite a number of things to talk about with this movie specifically, and exactly what's going on behind closed doors between Bob Iger and the board, and how they are taking full advantage of the current situation of WGA and SAG to make quite a number of adjustments to this movie that's being created by Rhett himself. He was the writer, by the way. Great job. You know, I think that he really took a lot of chances on this film, like he said before in the past, that he had no boundaries with Deadpool 3, but let's dive into all of this, because this is where things get really intense involving this movie, because let's face it, if Deadpool 3 becomes a failure, I think you're going to see a lot of people walking away from Marvel and just Disney overall. Now, with actress, of course, and of course other actors on the SAG situation right now, with those like Bob Iger making very poor choices at Disney, his latest big mistake he made that impacts a very anticipated film, such as this one, went into full effect. One major development surrounding the film is that not only was it delayed indefinitely and removed from Disney's release schedule, but that this has to do with both everything going on with WGA and SAG. Iger is reportedly taking this opportunity to intervene with the cost containment plan, and that many of Deadpool 3's initial plans for cameos are now going to be cut. Iger is now looking to spend less on the Deadpool 3 project, featuring both Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman, as he felt the number of cameos would only up the cost for this film. Additionally, cheaper sets are being planned out to be used for further development once the actors go back on board for the film. It's currently unclear, however, which cameos are being cut from the story for spending concerns and costs, but it's said to be quite significant and a major adjustment provided by Bob Iger. Additionally, Bob Iger also wants to throw in some DEI agendas into this film, which would hint that perhaps, and only perhaps, that some rewrites are on the horizon for this movie in the future with the delay. Now, guys, let me say one thing right now about this. Now, they can't do any rewrites right now with everything happening with the WGA situation, but what they can do is that, given that this movie is indefinitely delayed, sad but true, once the WGA strike lifts, there could very well be rewrites that will be implemented by Bob Iger. Now, he wants more DEI agendas to be thrown into Deadpool 3, something that we all feared would eventually happen, and something that a lot of you guys out there suggested that would happen anyway. But Bob Iger wants to double down, the board wants to double down with this, regardless of what has been happening over in Florida. This is not stopping Disney right now, period, the end. They're going to keep doing what they want to do with that. Now, the problem with Deadpool 3 right now is that I've seen a number of people saying both different things. A lot of people are very excited about this movie because of the cameos. Other people feel like Deadpool 3 is going to be like this abomination because of the number of cameos in this film. I, however, don't believe that the latter is going to be the true demise of this movie. I think it's all because of Bob Iger. You know, this is what Deadpool 3 is all about. This is literally a fan service / cameo-driven movie. And the fact that you have Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine, what's not to like, right? After coming out of Logan when he died, where James Mangold made that decision to kill him off, you know, people were very let down to see that it was the end for Hugh Jackman. And a lot of people would have loved to have seen, you know, perhaps like maybe a recast of the character or something new. I'm all for Hugh Jackman coming back. I think it's a great move, and I think that Rhett made a great decision by bringing him back on board. But what's concerning to me here is that Bob Iger is reportedly taking this indefinite delay into his own hands and taking advantage of that to make quite a number of changes to this movie. Number 1, reducing costs. Number 2, throwing in more DEI agendas. And number 3, cutting out scenes of specific cameos and or ones that were planned in the script and cheapening set builds. Alright? That's where you go on to realize that Disney's cheapoing out on Deadpool 3 now. And that's not a good sign in the least. Moving on. However, the WGA strike restricts all rewrites currently. The cameos that were cut from Deadpool 3 and or planned to get cut were said to be very recognizable characters that were unexpected, some of which have never appeared in live action before, one of which reportedly was going to be a Spider-Man villain that was never seen before in live action yet, and was said to be the Scorpion in Tom Holland's universe. This is reportedly getting cut and is one of the many cameos getting the axe. Additionally, there are plans to also tighten up the runtime of this movie per Bob Iger and the board's request upon Sean and Rhett, the director and writer of the film. Even Ryan Reynolds is reportedly angered over Disney's latest decision to also cut out breaking, of course, the fourth wall of making jokes about Disney. So I want to stop here. We kind of touched on this very lightly a couple weeks ago if you guys were following the coverage that we did of Deadpool 3 very briefly. What's interesting is that this movie supposedly had a breaking the fourth wall moment where Ryan Reynolds, as Deadpool, pretty much, pokes fun at Disney a couple of times. And Disney really wasn't all for that at the end of the day and had a change of heart. And that's why Bob Iger is taking this chance during this indefinite delay to cut this from the actual film's script and to get it out of there. Though they can't officially cut anything out right now, it's being marked and mapped out until the WGA strike and everything happening with SEG lifts. So, this is interesting to say the least. I'm very concerned about what's going on with Deadpool 3 because I will be honest, and I will be very direct with you guys. Deadpool 3 just sounds like it was going to be a very big, fun movie, and having Bob Iger interfere worries me. It really does. Now, I'm sure that you're still going to get a lot of cameos in this movie. That's a given. You're going to get tons of cameos, some of which that you are already aware of or have seen in movies, some of which, or others, that have never entered into live action before, many of which are getting the axe. And look, the fact that they are pushing more DEI nonsense into this film and how Disney and the board wants to take full advantage of that would require rewrites. I just don't know how they're going to do that. And that could very well delay the film even further if they're going to bank on waiting for rewrites to happen to throw in more DEI nonsense. So that's what really concerns me too, is that we might not see this movie till late 2025 from what it sounds like. So anyway, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys next time.